Welcome to Synthaholics. This is your host, David Duncan, and with me is just Brian.
I'm just Brian this week. I'm being spoken for. I want to get out of this tyranny. My name is no longer just Brian.
Okay, just
I'm Ethan
Brian.
Hunt.
Oh, I thought you were Ethan Cruz Hunt Tom.
Yes, I combined my names together. It's a very special guest this week. I'm actually just Tom Cruise.
Wow, Tom
So if,
Cruise. Are you wearing one of those masks from Mission Impossible, Tom Cruise?
I don't want to take it off though. I'm gonna keep it on this time.
Yeah, you're right. You have to look like B-Leg this week.
No, be like is not that time of year. We're not at it. I don't want to be like again for a long, 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 long time. Oh, that's a deep cut. You got to really know what we're talking about. I'm surprised I can remember what be like is.
Back when we talked about Rings of Power Season 2. Man, Brian's gonna get an even more elaborate wig when Rings of Power Season 3 comes out.
It just gets bigger and bigger. That's what I should start doing. I should just start every time anything we talk about, I should just cosplay the main character and just get like more and more extreme. It's not even me here anymore. It's like I'm role playing whatever character the main character is of what movie we're talking about. That's what I should just do moving
Oh
forward.
man, that means we got to do Showgirls again because I can't wait for you to cosplay.
Oh no, I don't want. I'm not. I can't. I don't want to dress up as a girl. I don't want to do that.
You did when you were B-Leg.
No, B-Leg was a guy.
Oh,
B-Leg's a guy. Trust me. I did my research. I did my Middle Earth research. But David.
Okay.
So we're doing Mission Impossible, but how did we get here? I'd like to tell a story like only Tom Cruise could. So
yes,
Tom, could you come on us?
Lead us through the story, Mr. Tom Cruise. Have you met Xenu? Have you met Xenu yet, Tom Cruise?
I personally, yes. Yes, okay. I have. Yes, I have. That's another. You got to just know what we're supposed to be talking about. Mission Impossible. We've done like two pretty deep cuts. Well, on knowledge you have to just know. But I went to go see the new Mission Impossible when it came out. You haven't had the pleasure yet of seeing it, but I went to see it and I enjoyed it thoroughly. I did. It was not a 10 out of 10 movie, but it was very enjoyable to me. It kept my attention the whole time. So sometimes you go to the movie theater and you're watching a movie and you get like halfway through and you're like, okay, I'm good to go. I'm ready to go. That's how
you just walk out.
Yeah, I haven't ever done that, but like, those thoughts where it's like, oh, what am I going to do after this? Or what am I going to eat later? When I was watching Mission Impossible, the new one, that never happened. I was just locked in for like 2 hours and 40 minutes or whatever it is, and just enjoying the movie. So I came to you and I said, hey, David, let's do Mission Impossible from the beginning to the end. Because I haven't seen this movie in like 30 years. But that said...
And then I was like, "Are you serious? Or is this a joke?"
Oh, that was true. That was true because you couldn't tell. It's hard. You're not the only one that has this trouble, but it seems like a lot of times people don't know if I'm being serious or not.
Well, I mean, a lot of times we talk through text, so it's hard to gauge whether you're being serious.
I fully understand, and some of the stuff I say doesn't really make sense a lot. So,
I mean, even not over text, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's true. It's just a full circle of just like combobulation. So I brought it up to watch Mission Impossible beginning to end, and we're only going to talk about the first movie because we didn't watch all 8 of them.
Yes,
I think there's 8 total. So we're going to slowly work our way through them. We're not going to do them all back to back, so you're not just going to get Mission Impossible for the next like 6 months. Well, when we feel like doing a Mission Impossible movie, we'll do a Mission Impossible movie. But for now, we're starting with the first one. And David, when I just watched the newest one, and if I compare it to this first one, boy, are they different movies. What are your thoughts on Mission Impossible 1 from 1996? They've been doing these for like 30 years.
Yeah. I'm probably going to give this movie like a 7.5, 8 out of 10, just in general. I really enjoyed this movie. It's, I think, to me, the most Mission Impossible-y of the Mission Impossible movies. Because
what does that even what does that even mean?
Mission Impossible's based on a 1960 show of the same name. which
Oh
also
boy,
guest starred Leonard
that I didn't
Nimoy
know.
in one of the episodes. So
I'm surprised I didn't know that.
So we always got to bring it back to Star Trek in some way or another. But Leonard Nimoy was a guest star in one of the old Mission Impossible episodes back in the 60s.
Interesting.
Anyway, so this movie was like part of that trend of the 90s where we got like the Witched movie and some other Beverly Hillbillies movie, which was also a TV show back in the day. So we had these old 60s TV shows get converted to a 90s reboot movie version. This was that. It kind of was Mission Impossible. You had the team from the TV show, and then they killed them all off. And so a lot of
Yeah,
people were pissed that the movie basically kills off the entire team from the TV show.
yeah, that
So
was surprising because that doesn't in the more modern day Mission Impossible movies, pretty much nobody dies.
yeah,
It's like you always have like you have your moments where it's like, oh, are they gonna die? And then they always like come back or something like that. It's like in the first like what 30 minutes of this movie, Ethan Hunt's entire team just dies.
Well, so I really like this film from a cinematography standpoint. Almost none of the Mission Impossible movies look like this from a straight cinematography aspect. Like I love the opening. They have like they have the mission that's going wrong, and like they're out in
Yeah,
the streets of Prague or whatever wherever they are, and like
yeah, Prague.
they've got like a really good face lighting, but then the back is all like misty and foggy. Just the way the movie is shot in that opening sequence is like unlike any of the other movies. Just
Well, it feels like
from a
this. I
technical
mean, this
standpoint.
when this movie came out, it was just before like the analog digital type of like switch before they just started doing things differently. This is right around that time when I think really probably Star Wars 1999 is when a big change probably happened
Yeah,
somewhere around there, and
when
we're
they
right at
started
this is
shooting
right at the
digital.
tail end of that.
Yeah,
So this was just
there's
before they
something
changed it
about
up.
that like real film
I know
look with the
it feels
lights like
it feels different. It does. It feels different.
and none of the other movies feel like this. Like it's just so crisp, especially at the beginning. Like I mean, some of those shots are just chef's kiss, just
Yeah.
positing shots with like the orange on their face, and then they get the blue background. Like you've got color theory, you've got like that. I don't know. It's just a
Well,
beautiful,
now they don't
beautiful
use
film.
they. I mean, I'm not going to speak for filmmakers, but now it seems like they're just most of the time it's
We'll
probably
fix
just
it in
we can do that in
post.
post. Yeah,
Yeah,
we can do that in post. It's not saying that they're not taking those things into account, but it's easier and cheaper to kind of like fiddle with things on the in post than it is to do it as you're filming type of thing. So it feels more real when we watch the movie from that's older because you had to take these things into account because they weren't getting fixed in post.
and they're
What you
more
filmed is what you
cinemat.
got.
I mean, the cinematography is just better. I don't know. And so that's my initial thoughts of the movie. Like a 7.5, 8-ish. It's a really solid movie. It's
I'm in the
probably
same boat.
one of
That's
my
what I was gonna give it
favorites.
to. You copied me. I already had it. I had it written down on my phone of like I write notes when I'm like watching the movie and then at the end I kind of try to put like what my rating will be and then I'll think about it for like a day because normally I like to keep it fresh in my mind so I'll watch this stuff on Friday and I had a 7.58 too.
Nice,
So
nice.
you copied me, man. What the heck?
Other thoughts about other just opening thoughts about the film other than the
Um,
score.
I mean the movie, which I don't know if it's a detriment to it. I mean, maybe in the modern day it is, but it's a lot slower than the newer Mission Impossible movies are. It's definitely takes its time with stuff, which is to me is fine because as long as the movie's like keeping me engaged, I don't need an action scene every 5 minutes or something like that. I'm cool with just having a room of characters talking, trying to figure stuff out. I'm okay with that. So that's really the only other big thing I can think of. We'll get into more specific things that are that are a little dated or not dated, but for the most part, that's kind of just a little bit slower. I think. Can you think of anything else?
I mean, that's why I think this feels more like the old TV show because it's not like balls to the wall action all the time like the other movie,
Yeah.
or they're trying to
Well,
become like James Bond film.
it feels like these movies. They have a conversation, then they have a setup, and then an action piece happens, and then the action stops, and they reset up, and like in the newer movies, it feels like okay, this is the mission. Now the downtime is them traveling to where the action's going to happen, and then the action happens, and then they travel to where the action's going to be. That's kind of how it feels like the new ones are. This one is not like that at all. This is
No.
very much like there's a whole like they have the I don't know the name of the I can't think of the name of the character who's also in all the movies. I think he's the only other one that's been in all of them. No, wait. Luther's in all of them as well. Who's the government guy? Yeah, the scene where Ethan Hunt has a conversation with him, and there's fish tanks above in the restaurant. That
He's
guy
not.
he's talking
He's not
to.
in all the movies. I think he's in the.
He's in
first,
most of them, isn't he?
I think he's in the first one, the seventh one, the eighth one.
Oh, I
Citrix.
thought he was. I thought he was in like
No,
most
no.
of them.
He. I think he took a long sit out. He
Ah.
might have been in the second one. I've only watched the second one once.
Yeah, I can't. Well, that's why I kind of wanted to rewatch these because it's like I haven't seen these since like either they came out or like a year or two after they came out. So I don't know where I was going with that then, because then I guess I'm just wrong. I have to admit.
I
to admit
think
defeat.
Luther is not in one of them. So I think
Luther. Well, yeah, Luther
in
is
most
at
of them.
least in.
He's in most.
I
of
can.
them.
I mean, he's got to be in just about all. Maybe he's out of one of them. I
And
mean,
then
we'll find out
And
as
then I
time
think
goes.
Simon Pegg gets introduced in the third one, and he's in the rest of them.
Yeah,
Like that's
that
why I
might be
kind of
something
like.
like
I feel
that.
like the first movie is like the real timeline, and then 3 through 8 is the rest of the time. I feel like 2 just doesn't really even fit with it.
Well, we got to figure out where it becomes like mainstream Hollywood, because in this movie, Ethan Hunt is still like very much trying to like figure it. You can tell the movie's kind of trying to figure out what Mission Impossible is a little bit in this. Ethan Hunt is a little bit of a different character in
He's
this movie
very
compared to
different
what
in
he
this movie.
becomes.
Well, yeah, because in this movie, John Voight's character is like the leader, and ends up being the traitor.
Yeah.
And so Tom Cruise becomes the leader, and is the leader of the team throughout the rest of them.
Yeah, so he's like young and still trying to he's like very skilled, but he's also like hasn't been. They make it feel like he's like the top spy that's ever been like alive, but he's also has no experience.
Well, I think technically the TV show's canon. Yes, I don't know. Like the way they're because the reason why he goes traitor, John Voight's character goes traitor and gets everyone killed is because like their usefulness is going. The Cold War has gone away or whatever. So
Okay,
it's
I guess
very
that's fair.
interesting. So like I think technically kind of they're considering like the old ones canon.
Do you care about canon or lore in Mission Impossible? I don't. It doesn't really. They're kind of like all the same movies, and they kind of just as the movies go on, they just kind of like interject, like put the lore in when they need to make the story make sense. Other times they just kind of like ignore it. That's what it feels like to me. It's like lore is only applicable until the story, and unless the story doesn't make sense.
I don't know.
That's how it feels like to me.
I like continuity. I'm a continuity guy. I've always been a continuity guy. So when things worked with me, I that.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
I've always, that's why I'm a big stickler for it in Star Trek and nothing. That's why I think the second movie is so weird. From what I remember, it doesn't feel like it fits with the first movie or any of the movies that come after. Funny thing
Yeah.
is, just because this movie is so old, came out in 1994, and they talking about the internet like it's a new thing. Because they the way they speak about the internet, like they like emphasize like it's like this new thing.
It's all brand new. There's new hacking technology. There's one scene where Luther is talking about. Are you talking about? And he like describes a CPU or something like that they had. He's like, it has the artificial intelligence chip in it. It's like, man, if only Luther had the computer we have nowadays.
Yeah, I know, right? So
what could he have caused?
It's just kind of incredible. We've gone from the internet barely being a thing and them talking about it with reverence in the first movie, and then 7 and 8 are a movie about artificial intelligence taking over and destroying everything. Like, so we've gone from what is the internet to our artificial intelligence is going to kill us all. And
it is funny that Luther does bring up artificial intelligence in the first movie, and it ends up being like the big thing in the last movie.
Yeah,
it went full circle.
There's a through
the
line.
series just went full circle. Oh man, yeah.
Man,
there's also another scene
you're
where
saying Luther started the AI revolution by branding everything as an AI chip?
He might have.
1994. Is
He
that
when did artificial intelligence become like a thing? When did people start calling it artificial intelligence or AI? Because they
whenever?
say it in this movie. So did this movie start it, or was it did it predate? It had to predate this
Well,
movie, right?
artificial intelligence
It's been around forever.
as a
It's been
concept
yeah,
has been around forever. But an AI chip, that's just
yeah.
like that's new.
That's where I'm going.
That's new. Like Nvidia started AI chips, but like now we've got
Yeah,
like the AI Lenovo, the AI Asus motherboard. It's just like it's
yeah. But did they like did this movie start that
the
like that revolution of AI like calling things AI in a computer? I don't know. This could be the first one. I would love if somebody could correct us because if you have that knowledge, that you are artificial intelligence if you have that knowledge.
Mr. Jensen from Nvidia is like watched that movie and he's like, "This is what we're doing. Luther's my power animal."
That's he just has his next presentation.
He had his leather trench coat or his alligator trench coat back in the 90s when he was like a just started
I
in
want him to
video.
bring out. I want him to bring out Luther as the in the next like presentation for Nvidia. They just bring him out and they're like, and now to the guy who's brought up all of this.
Luther. We couldn't have done this without you, Luther.
We couldn't have done it without you, Luther. There is a scene in here where Tom Cruise or Ethan Hunt, they're interchangeable at this point to me. If you tell me Ethan, I feel like I'm so in tune with Mission Impossible right now, or if you just say Ethan Hunt, I'm just gonna, like, Ethan Hunt and Tom Cruise are the same person to me. But there's a scene where he goes and asks the woman, I don't know her name, for $150,000. I just thought that was kind of like, it just shows the like age of the times because she was like, "Oh my gosh, you want like $150,000? Well, could you possibly? Why do you need that much? There's no reason to need $150,000." And now, if they made a big movie with somebody asking $150,000, it'd be like, okay, this is like that's all you want.
Yeah.
uh,
It's pretty funny.
we've changed as a society. I mean, what do you think would be like? How much would it's not even like a million. If somebody says like, "Oh, we need $1 million to like do this or something," it's like, okay,
Well, he was asking for a realistic amount of money now in cash.
yeah, that's not like $150,000 is not that much in like big budget movie numbers. Like that's not, you
No,
know what?
but that's not that wasn't his reward. That was a down payment.
I
I mean
know.
but I mean that's also a more realistic number to get as a down payment. Like you need like the time and the
Really, you
infrastructure
think
to
so?
get that to get that $10 million that Max was gonna give him at the end of the movie because it was she wanted it in like like bonds or whatever. So I mean it takes a while to get that, but
I
like
guess.
a
I
weapons
don't.
dealer would probably have like a couple hundred K on hand. I don't know. I
Yeah,
feel like a couple.
it feels like now a movie like this would ask for like I want 100 million and I want 10 million up front. That's kind of like how that's what I think would
But
happen. So it's
yeah,
like there's
but
a huge difference between what's being asked.
sure, but I don't think people keep millions of dollars on hand. Like no, like that's why things are so messed up with like taxing rich people is that
Yeah.
all their money is tied up in things. They're not liquid for
No,
million or billions of
nobody
dollars.
has any cash anymore.
That's what I'm saying. Like you can't ask for a down payment in the millions when no one's liquid.
I have $3 on me. I'm not going to be able to give you $150,000.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, but I mean, 150,000 is like more realistic for being having as liquid currency to give someone.
Yeah. Okay.
That
How
makes
for
sense.
that? That's probably even got harder now. I bet you
Well,
nobody has $150,000 now in cash,
probably
even if you
not.
are a
But
billionaire.
but in the 90s, probably that's probably like more. But I mean, like, cash is so like people don't really use cash anymore. I mean, some people do. I mean, older people use cash, but I mean, most
Yeah.
people our age, like,
I don't have any cash. I have zero cash.
yeah.
I don't have anything.
I think my
But
wife and I dated for like a year before I had any cash on me. Like, oh, I actually have cash on me. That's weird.
you don't need cash anymore.
Yeah.
And it's always like the, in case you need it for an emergency or something like that. But it's like, I'm never going to be an emergency where somebody's going to want $3 from me or whatever. But going back to Mission Impossible, the scene that was definitely I have two scenes that were my favorite was when the gum was used on the fish tank and all the fish tanks exploded. I think that'd be a really cool restaurant to go to. I don't know if it exists or not, but I think that'd be cool to like sit around like a fish tank like that. And my favorite scene was at the end when they're in that like circle room and the whole room is like, if you drop
Got the touch
like a
plate.
drop of
Yeah.
sweat, the room recognizes it. That room is just so it's also like iconic when you think of like Mission Impossible. It's like this is
That's the
this is where it
scene.
happened. This is where it started.
Yeah.
This is what put Mission Impossible on the map.
Yeah, and it's like not even that impressive as like a stunt, but it's just a cool sequence. It is
Yeah.
the sequence when people say Mission Impossible 1, it's the sequence people think about. The
Oh,
most over the
absolutely.
top personal computer room ever.
it's, it's just his office. His office he needs to say his name, put in a pin, go into another room with a dedicated secretary. Then he goes up, does like an eye scan, and then he can finally get into the room.
It's just like the most over the top secure room there ever was, and it's amazing. And the sequence is
I didn't think of it that is pretty funny when you think of it. That is really just a personal office, and and every time he goes in the room, the whole movie, the guy that works in that room, he's in the movie, but when he goes into that room, it's like he goes to the keyboard, types like 20 characters, and then just leaves. And then it takes him like an hour to come back. He goes in, types like 20 characters, starts throwing up, and leaves. It's like he was never actually in that room for any. I feel like they needed to get like a better reason why he was going in that room.
yeah, what are you even doing in that room? Like it's kind of great. It's
He
just
was only in there for like 20-second increments.
and it's like so is the room just like not connected to the rest of the place via internal network? You can't like, access that information from anywhere else in the building. Like sure,
No.
maybe it's off limit to the rest of the internet, but I mean it's not on the local
No, it's not. It's not on
network.
anything. It's also funny that every time he goes in there, he has to do the same like process to get in the room. It's not like he checked in for the day. It's like if he leaves the room, he needs the eye scan, he needs the voice recognition, he needs the pin. The secretary needs to give him the okay.
And then this is Langley, so there was probably a swipe badge to get into parking when he got in for the day, and then he had to
Yep.
swipe into the building initially. Probably he might have had some hand biometrics too.
It's
like
just a it's
just this
it's
is
a
like
lot of work just to
yeah
get to your desk
to get to your desk. It's a lot of work.
in a white room
Absolutely.
that has laser beams and in a temperature controlled room. If the temperature goes up, or if there's too much noise, or if there's weight on the floor, it's a very secure room, and they seem to not have too much trouble getting they like built up this whole thing of how like impenetrable this room is. And Ethan Hunt like goes in and out, and within like 3 minutes, he has everything he needs. It's like there's no problem. Like he didn't even really run into like any trouble. He was
And
like, it
two
was kind.
floppy disks.
Oh, there was. I also got a kick out of the floppy disk.
The
One of
sleight
them.
of hand.
Oh yeah. That's at the beginning of the movie.
Why doesn't he do sleight of hand after
Never again. This is,
never
as far as
none
I
of
can
the
remember, this is the only time he does it.
he only does magic in the first Mission Impossible. He gives up on his
His
illusions.
dream. That's his actual dream, is
His
for him to be a
actual dream.
magician. Yeah.
Yeah.
So after he gets those floppy disks that has the knock drive or whatever the heck
He's not going to
are
be
supposed to
Shin
be on
Lim. You're
these
saying
like what?
I'm sorry.
These
You're saying Ethan Hunt's not going to be the next Shin Lim.
no. No, Ethan Hunt's not going to be the next Shyamalan. That should be his like side thing. If they ever make another Mission Impossible movie again, he should just be like a magician in like Vegas.
And Shin Lim is his assistant. Just have Shin Lim cameo.
Yeah, that'd be pretty great. There's a lot of directions we could take these Mission Impossible movies. Just considering they're so different from the first ones to the new ones. It's like
So
you really
many,
could go in a lot of different directions.
so many deep cuts this episode. You wouldn't.
I know, right? Bringing up Shim Lim.
I mean, we talk about magic. I just had to.
He's the only magic guy I know of, really. There's
Penn and Teller.
Yeah, but everybody knows that. Like they're like celebrity magicians. Shim Lim is like he actually is like a magician that people don't probably know.
Well, that's
Maybe
not true.
I'm wrong. I don't know.
Deep cuts, deep cuts, deep cuts.
Yeah, deep cuts. But overall, the movie is just it's a different tone. It's a lot slower. It shows its age with those floppy disks that they said the size on the floppy disk. I can't remember what it was off the top of my head, but I remember thinking like, "Oh wow, that was small." It was pretty. Was it 250 megs? I can't remember how big the floppy disks how big the floppy disks were. They weren't
Well,
very big, but I
if
remember thinking about that.
well, if they were zip disks, those were 100 megs. I remember
Yeah,
just like I remember when the iOmega zip disk was a thing. I was like, oh my gosh, it looks like a floppy
this
disk. It's
is
just a little bit
insane.
thicker, and it's 100 megs versus 1.4. It's revolutionary. And DVDs and like 4.7 gigabytes.
It does kind of take you back when you like see the computers and stuff that they're using. They got those the big CRT monitors and
Mm-hmm.
it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, oh man, this was just like 30 years ago. This is just a completely different planet. Now it's totally different. The like rate of improvement we've had in like technology in the past like 30 years is probably the changes that have happened in the past 30 years are probably bigger than that happened in the last like 5,000 years.
It's
It's like
pretty
we've had
it's
to
pretty
adapt to a
crazy.
lot of change.
Except for like the last 10 years, things have basically stalled.
Yeah, well, we're kind of at the like, where do you go from here now, though? Like, what do you? There's nowhere. Everything's just small improvements. It's not like every year there's another like breakthrough in like how much storage there could be. We can already have like micro SDs that have like 5 terabytes on them.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Like from the 90s to like mid 2005 or 2010, it was like rapid improvement. And since around 2010, 2012, it feels like things haven't
Things are kind
really
of slow down.
changed all that much.
We've kind of hit a point where it's like for a consumer's needs, I don't need like 7 terabytes in my phone type of thing. Like I'm never gonna fill that up. I would like
Well,
more
you're
than like.
obviously not taking 4K 60 FPS video. You
No,
would
I'm
use it
not.
all the way
Not
up.
I'm not. Are you? Is that what you do in your spare time? You're just going around taking 4K 60 video of everything?
Everything. Oh, my whole life. I have to videotape everything.
Why aren't you vlogging this stuff and putting it together and putting it on YouTube?
I have to
It's just
encrypt
you
it.
sitting at
I
a
have
desk
to
all
encrypt
day.
it. Yeah, I just have to encrypt it first, and then it'll just show up as like fuzz. It's 4K
Uh,
60 FPS fuzz.
oh man, it's just millions of people are watching. But
Can't
David,
wait.
is there any other? What was your favorite scene of Mission Impossible? Did you have any standout moments? Like, what is it? The circle room? It's got to be the circle
The
room, right?
computer room, yeah, that's by far my favorite scene in the movie. But like I said, the opening sequence,
Yeah, that was really
once the
cool.
knock list is out, um, all of that cinematography, like when the girls walking down the alley, like I just love that feel. And it's different. The rest of the movie doesn't look like this, but like that opening sequence, the way that's filmed, and the mists and everything, it's just those are some of my favorite shots. But yeah,
Yeah.
that sequence is pretty good, and everyone clowned on the helicopter sequence. The helicopter flying into a tunnel is
Yeah,
just like
that
so
is
over the
funny.
top.
Yeah, they probably did that with like miniatures, right? Or I don't know what they did with it. I don't know if I couldn't tell if it was like it felt like sometimes the camera perspective made me feel like they were using miniatures, but I don't like there's a at the end when they show the car blowing up, that felt like a miniature the way it like blew up. It was to me. So I don't know if they use miniatures or not
I'm sure they used.
in the movie or if everything was CG. I'm not sure, but the
I mean,
helicopter flying in was kind of funny.
yeah, it was pretty like
Not possible to do, really. I don't know. I don't think that'd be possible to to do. He also they all start even from the beginning. They start with the here's your mission. Should you choose to accept it, this tape will blow up in 5 seconds or whatever. They always do.
And
That's
he
been a
was
thing since
smoking
the
on an
beginning.
airplane. Man, that's changed.
I know,
You
right?
can't even.
That's
Can't
actually what I thought of when I was like, oh, this is gonna blow up on an airplane. But it was just a little smoke.
Yeah, you can't
'Cause some of
even.
them, in some of the movies, it's like there's actual explosion where it like blows up like a building. I think it's in it's the one where they're in like a diner. Whatever, I can't think of whichever one they're in a diner, but it's like there's an actual explosion. But this one, there's not. It's just a little
Yeah, it
poof of
just
smoke.
burns up.
Well, that's Mission Impossible 1, David.
Mission
We
Impossible.
did it. We went back. If anybody wants to watch it, it's free on Amazon Prime. You can
It's
just watch
also
them.
on the Paramount Plus, which is where I watched it.
No, it's free there too. Man, it's one of the wow, this movie's actually on 2 streaming platforms.
It's old.
That's crazy. Yeah, I know, right? Older does change things. But yeah, go watch Mission Impossible. The movies kind of like hold up. Tom Cruise is still early on in his career here, and he's still trying to like figure it. You can tell his acting chops are not what they are now. He's a bit of a better actor now, I think, but he's also trying to figure out who the Ethan Hunt character is in this movie
Yeah.
for sure.
I also really like the Bible sequence when he's like he looks at the Bible for Job 3:16, and it's like because they call it the Job 3:16. I really
Yeah.
like. I also like that sequence a lot where he's figuring that out and like
That scene is not something that would happen in a new movie. It's too slow.
No, absolutely not. But I liked it because it's just like you see he's smart. He's like, oh, okay, we're gonna put this together. Then it's the Bible from the place he went because the Gideon stamped it. Like just lots of little like
Yeah.
small
Well, there's
like
there's
you can see he's smart in putting things together, which I
yeah,
like.
there's bits and pieces where it doesn't show that like he's like unstoppable force where he like has to. There are a couple scenes where it feels like he's an unstoppable force, but it feels like he still has to like figure stuff out. In the newer movies, it doesn't feel like it feels like everything is like, oh, all right, we already got everything planned. Like there's
It feels like someone else is the brain of the other films. Like
yeah, it's like I'm
he doesn't
thinking of a
think very
specific
much.
scene in the newest movie, and I won't talk about it because you haven't seen all that. But there is a scene where it feels like there's a big like sequence that needs to happen, and it's just figured out already. It's just knows they already know what's going on without ever. It's like they just telepathically all thought the same thing at the same time within 5 seconds of trying to figure it out. But
Yeah.
this movie is like there's scenes where they're just sitting down trying to like, let's figure out what we got to do next year because we have to actually plan. We can't just go in, guns blazing type of thing.
Yeah, I mean Simon Pegg becomes the default brain in the rest of
Yeah,
the
he
film,
does
like
become the
basically from
default brain.
3 on. But
It's Luther
it
and
was
him are
fun.
kind of
Yeah.
Simon Pegg becomes kind of like the idea guy, and Luther's like the hacker guy or builder
Yeah.
guy.
Although Simon Pegg is also a hacker, but still,
Simon Pegg's
Pegg.
anything he needs to be.
Yeah.
Simon Pegg is literally he's the medical expert. He's the brains of the operation. He can hack things if he needs. He knows everything.
He knows it all. Yeah, so he's kind of a so
He's the
sorry guy.
Mario of
And
Mission Impossible.
yeah, and like I kind of miss that. Like like, we don't get Ethan Hunt being smart in the other films as he is in the.
No, he's kind of just the action guy. He's
Yeah,
the guy that goes
yeah,
and gets the job done.
he just
It is
gets
like
done.
his character in this movie is very different from the new ones. It really is a big difference.
Yeah,
It does not feel like the same Ethan Hunt at all
because
between old and new movies.
You go from like it being Mission Impossible in the first movie, and then all the rest of the movies are trying to be James Bond film.
Yeah, pretty much. But to me, they're all I like this movie as much as I like the new one too. They're both entertaining to me. It's just a different style of how the movie plays out, and both are fine with me.
Absolutely, go if you check out Paramount Plus or Amazon Prime. Go give Mission Impossible
They hold
1
out.
a relook.
Yeah.
See some pre-digital film cinema.
Go see some pre-digital stuff. God damn it!
Yeah.
Stop watching TikTok. Go watch Mission Impossible.
Yeah, watch Mission Impossible. Get some
Get some culture in you.
Yeah. Experience
Culture.
Some classic cinema from the 90s.
A good old dose of classic.
I mean, it's classic
Nice
now.
dose.
30 years old, basically.
Yeah. But yeah, David, that's Mission Impossible. I recommend it.
I
Email
recommend it as
David
well.
at synthaholics@yahoo.com. David, do you have any closing thoughts here?
that's it. Go check out Mission Impossible and figure out what we're gonna talk about next time.
It's
Maybe
gonna
it'll be
be
Mission Impossible too.
who knows? Well, there's only time will tell.
Only time will tell. We
Only
haven't made
time will
up our
tell.
minds yet. Anyway,
Nope.
we'll see you next time. Synthaholics out.
Bye bye.